Hi, I'm Ellie Alberts.
I'm Kiki Pave.
I'm Sperry Basil, and we're doing our video on vinyasa, which is a type of yoga that requires that we cultivate an awareness that links each action to the next, which is like one breath at a time. And the term vinyasa actually refers to the alignment of movement and breath. And it's one of the most popular styles of yoga in the US. Um, so it has both physical and mental benefits too. And physically, sweat releases toxins and re energizes our bodies. And by repeating postures and movements, you can accumulate the 60 seconds that are recommended by the ACSM to benefit our flexibility. And the yoga practice also gets you like moving a lot, which is really benefits the average American because average Americans sit 13 hours per day without moving, which is like a lot of time where you could really be doing like exercise. So according to research from the company Ergotron, which was published in 2013, sitting so much like makes your joints really stiff and it contributes to weight gain and chronic disease. So when you're doing like vinyasa, you're actually like going against that and you're like fixing your stiff joints because even though you don't you don't know they're stiff, they really are. And then mentally, the breathing relaxes your mind and helps you release any blockage of like bad energy to flow throughout your body. So your energy is just flowing throughout your body, and you're sweating out your toxins. So overall, it's really good for your body.
Place yourself in the center of your mat. Today we are going to start with child's pose. While in this pose, focus on your breath. Be sure to let all your stress be relieved at this time. Anything that has been bugging you, let it go. On our next inhale, we are going to transfer ourselves into tabletop position. Be sure to keep your knees and hips aligned and your shoulders directly over your hands. Drop to cow pose, lift your tailbone and drop your stomach. On your exhale, lift your spine and enter cat pose. Be sure to tuck your chin. Inhale, drop your stomach. Exhale, bring yourself back into cat pose. Last time, inhale, drop your stomach. Exhale, lift your spine. Make sure you are breathing smoothly. Now we will be going into down dog. Be sure to keep your back legs straight. Focus on your breath in this pose. To be comfortable, make your elbows face outwards. Now we'll be entering into a plank. Slowly lower yourself onto your mat. Be sure to keep your elbows lifted and your head above the mat. Try to focus on your breath. Straight from this pose, We will be going back into down dog position. Inhale, hover your knees above the mat. Exhale, bring both legs to the front of your mat. Make sure to keep your legs bent. Reach for opposite elbows for ragdoll. You can sway a little side to side to get an extra stretch. Straighten out your legs. Bring your hands to your knees for a half forward fold. Bring your hands all the way up. Lift them into the sky for tree pose. Bring your hands to your heart, then lift them back up. Lean to the left side. Then lean to your right side. For the last stretch, lean backwards. We'll now bring ourselves back into a half forward fold. Make sure your back is straight and not bent. Now we will be going into a plank. Try to lift yourselves onto the tip of your toes. We will lower ourselves into upward dog. Be sure to keep your legs above your mat. Raise yourself into downward dog. Be sure to keep your back and legs straight. Always be focusing on your breath. Hop your legs up to the front of your mat near your hands. We will now be going into a forward fold. Slightly bend your legs, then straighten them out to enter another tree pose. Bring your hands to your heart. Bring your hands up. Now we will be leaning to the left side. Stretch up. Then we will be leaning to the right side. Lastly, lean back. And then go into a forward fold without touching your hands to your legs. Now bring your hands to your knees and lift down into a plank. Slowly lower yourself onto the ground and do one push-up. Be sure when you move into your up dog position to keep your legs above the ground. Now we will be going into down dog. Be sure to keep your legs and your stomach straight. Bring both legs up to the front of your mat and go to a half forward fold. Be sure to keep your back straight. Now go into a full forward fold. Bring your hands up, stretch as high as you can, then bring them to your center. Bring your hands up, lean to your left, stretch, lean to your right. Lastly, lean back. Then come forward into your original tree pose. Now, touch your toes and go back into your plank. Bring yourself to the ground and go into upward dog without touching your legs to your mat. From upward dog, go straight into downward dog. Be sure you are focusing on your breath. If you would like to challenge yourself, you could lift up one leg, then lift up the other. Slowly bring your knees to your mat and hop up. Bring yourself back into downward dog. Slowly lower your knees, but do not touch the mat. Bring your legs up to your hands and enter forward fold. Now you will be going into tree pose. Stretch your arms as high as you can. Now bring them to the center of your chest. Now you will be doing chair pose. Slightly bend your legs and put your arms into the air. Be sure you are focusing on your breath. Now go into forward fold and try to touch your toes. Now you'll be going into a half lift. Bring yourself to a plank and be sure your shoulders are aligned with your hands. Now you will be going into upward dog. Now you'll be going into downward dog. Try to keep your legs straight. You will be doing a three-legged dog. From the three-legged dog, bring your one leg forward, then bring it back up. Do this again and enter runner's lunge. Do it one more time and bring your leg forward again. Last time and bring your leg forward. Now you will be doing warrior pose. Lift your arms as high as you can. From warrior pose, you will be entering warrior B. Do warrior B, put both hands out. To give yourself an extra stretch, put one hand on the back of your back leg and reach the other one to the sky. Stay here, then cartwheel forward and put your right hand on your right knee and lift your left hand into the air. For an extra stretch, you can place your hand on the ground, but it's whatever you would like to choose. Now you'll be entering into plank. Now you'll be entering into up dog. Be sure to keep your toes pointed. Now lift yourself into downward dog with your back straight and your legs also straight. You will be lifting your opposite leg that you did before, and then you'll be going into runner's lunge. Lift your opposite leg and go into runner's lunge once again. Do this a few more times and try to keep your balance. From runner's lunge, you'll be entering warrior. Be sure you are focusing on your breath and relieving all your stress while you are doing these poses. Now enter Warrior B. Try to hold your balance as much as you can. Put your opposite hand in the air and put your other hand on the back of your leg.
Okay, so to give yourself a good stretch, put your arm back and just follow along. Now take your other arm and stretch it over your head and put your other hand on your knee. Now you can put one hand on the ground or you can keep it on your knee, whichever one feels best for your body. Now go back and put your right hand on your leg and then put it forward. And hop back into plank. Now we're going to go down to up dog. And lift up to downward facing dog. Hold this pose as best as you can. Now, bring your feet up to the top. And you're going to come up to chair pose. Chair pose. It is hard to stay in this position, so if you can't, you can take a minute to take a break. Now you're going to come back down into plank and up dog. And now you're going to come up to a three-legged dog. And you're going to lift your right leg as high as you can and then bring it up to the front of your mat. This is called a runner's lunge. Now up to three-legged dog and lift it as high as you can and back to runner's lunge. Now you're going to put your hands up and come into warrior and warrior B and put your hands to the side. Lift your left hand up and then put them back. And then you're going to come back down into downward facing dog and up dog. You're going to go back to downward facing dog now and lift your left leg as high as you can. Now bring it up to the front of your mat, runner's lunge, and then back up high. Runner's lunge. Then you can stand up. Warrior pose and put your hands out to the side. Stretch your hands out and put your left hand up in the air. And put them back up. Now you're going to come down into child's pose. We're going to go to child's pose. When you're in child's pose, make sure that you're just breathing and not thinking about any stress. You're just letting it all go. Now you're going to just sit down and find your center and put your hands together. You can close your eyes or keep them open. Put your hands on your knees. In a second, you're going to lift your hands up and bring them back down to the center. Just to make sure you're staying calm and focused. Okay, now you're going to come down into forward fold. From there, just stand up, come into forward fold. Take your time also. Make sure you're doing what feels good for your body so you can stretch down as far as you can. Touch the ground if you can as you lift up into chair pose. You can bring your hands to the center and then turn to the left. Make sure your hands are on your opposite knee. Then put one hand on the ground and your other hand up high. Back to forward fold. Hold this pose as long as you can. Just keep it holding. It's hard to stay focused, so if you need to take a minute there, feel free. Okay, now you're going to come into a sitting squat, and you're going to put your hands together to help you maintain your balance. If it's hard to hold, just focus on something so that you can sit still. You can put your hands down for this part and try and lift your back a little bit to make a straight spine. Bring your hands back to the center, put them together. And now you're going to sit down. Your hands on your knees, and you're going to just lean forward here to give yourself a nice stretch. Lean forward. You don't have to go far, just as much as it feels good for your body. Put your hands out in front of you and just hold that stretch. Now we're going to work on your core. So you're going to put your legs out in front of you and just keep your arms out. You should feel this in your abs. Keep your legs together. It's hard, but just don't move. Move your arms out in front of you. Keep them up, but you want to try and keep them up. Okay, now you're gonna move to downward facing dog. Now you're gonna move one foot back and put your arm up on the left side, your left leg and your left arm, and keep your right arm on the ground. Just hold it there. Now we're gonna do some side planks. This is really good for your core too. So, okay, now we're gonna do a vinyasa. Put your legs, so hold your legs together and then put your arm high and go to down dog. Okay, three-legged dog. So lift your left leg and then bring it up to runner's lunge. And now we're going to come into a warrior pose. So just lift your hands above your head and then bring them down to the center. Turn to the right and put one of your hands on the ground while you lift the other up high. Your left leg should be up. Bring your hands to the mat and you're going to turn to the side and lift your left hand. Hold and then bring it down. Bring both hands down. Do a vinyasa up dog. Down dog then, obviously. Now you can bend your knees a little bit as you come to a standing. And you're going to do forward fold. Okay, now as you stand up and bring your hands to the center, you're going to do chair pose. Now you're going to cross your arm, and this just gives your arms a good stretch. And you're going to cross your leg, put your leg around your leg, like your other leg, and just hold it. And you can do this on either side. Now, lift your knee and then bring your legs up as you try and balance and stick out your leg. This is very hard here. It was hard to do this because I don't have great balance. It's definitely helped me practice. Bring your hands down and lift that same leg. This is splits. Inner splits. If your leg starts to come down, just notice it. And come into child's pose for some rest. And while you're in child's pose, just breathe. Focus on your breath. Don't stress. Don't think about your homework that's due next hour. Just focus. You're going to come to table. Cat pose. You're going to come down to down dog. So you're going to come to standing pose, and you're going to actually repeat what we already did, but on the other side. So if you did it on the left the first time, now you're going to do it on the right. And if you did it on the right, you're going to do it on the left now. So you're just going to put your arm underneath your other arm, and then cross your leg over your other leg. And just hold this here for a good few seconds. Now you're just gonna lift your leg again, put your hands to the center, and try and balance this again. I'm gonna turn it to the side so you can see me doing it better. Just try and hold it. If you can't, it's okay. We're just gonna come back to downward dog, and then we're gonna go back to child's pose in a second. Just rest, and thank you for watching the video and following along.